Welcome to episode 22 of the DJ and Heel Show. I am Brandon the Heel, along with my co-host DJ.
What up?
We are joined today by the Main Event Hub, as well as Mike Mayer, and we are going to start off today with your Backlash post show. So, DJ, take it off. What was the first match?
Best match. So I got to say Braun and Seth, because I feel like that kind of over-delivered than what we were expecting, especially from the Braun side. I think this was like Braun Breaker's best match on the main roster by far. I haven't seen him do much better. Io
It's
and
pretty much his biggest singles win too, right?
Yeah, I'd say for now, until until he wins the world title, his biggest singles win. Io and Asuka was good for what it was, for being the only girls match and what it looked like to be Asuka's last match, because she let it all out. That also was a match that exceeded people's expectations going into it, especially, the build to leading up to this has kind of been flat-ish. The Danhausen and Minihausen, I guess that's what we're calling it, and versus Kit and Miz, it started off good. I think towards like the last 10 minutes, it got overbooked. I think they started it off the right way. But once they brought out all the other mini housings and started doing all the goofy comedy stuff and overdoing it, that's where it kind of lost me. Seth and Trick was a snooze fest to me. And so kind of a mixed bag here. It wasn't that bad of a pay-per-view. I'd give it like a B minus, C plus.
What about Roman and Jacob?
I think that was a really good match. I think it was also, it wasn't Jacob's best match, but it was one of his better matches in the past few months. It got the stink of, the Drew McIntyre match out of everyone's mouth. Like, it was slow paced. Roman did a lot to get Jacob's shit over. This match was the definition of there's a difference between getting over and going over. Jacob didn't go over in this match, but he definitely got over in this match. Way more over than what he was.
I think the rematch is going to be at Clash in Italy, and it's probably going to be like Bloodline rules.
I'm saying that it's probably going to be an I Quit match already so far.
Hey, Mike, what did you think of Backlash?
Listen, like WWE hasn't had a good string of great PLEs. Like we talk about, Saturday was not great. Sunday was actually really good. And then, Elimination Chamber and Royal Rumble were not the best. It wasn't like anything amazing, but I think in terms of pacing and in terms of, the overall match quality, I think they did a pretty good job. Also, crowd. I don't know. I know we can kind of get into this a little bit. The crowd was great in Tampa. That was a live crowd.
Oh, yeah.
I think they added a ton of energy to every single match. They were into everything that was going on, specifically the main event. Seth Braun was great. I know there was a couple of rough spots where, like some people are going to pinpoint Seth botching, trying to be Will Ospreay, whatever, with the flip over and some of that stuff. I enjoyed it. I think Seth's fantastic. I think, really, what is that? Like only his second match back. That was Braun's first match back since January. I think given the circumstances, I think they did really well. And even the interference stuff, when it got to maybe be a little bit overbooked, they made Seth look kind of smart. Like, he pulls the chair out. You're like, what's going on? He's just like waiting for Austin and Logan to come in. And like, yeah, good near falls near the end. And then, ultimately Seth sort of succumbs to Braun. And, like you guys said, the biggest win of Braun's singles career outside of, winning the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. But yeah, that was a big time win. The Trick Sammy match, I didn't hate it. I actually, listen, I got to give a shout out to Lil Yachty. Like, I'm not usually one for celebrities. Lil Yachty, for the little stuff that guy's been given, he sells it. He makes the haluva kick look like death. Like he like all the little things that he's done. Like it's not like he's.
I don't know. There was the one miscommunication part where
Yeah.
when Sammy tried to punch him on the outside and he
Right.
no sold the first punch.
Yeah, it was a
And
little
then the
bit weird.
second punch, Sammy laid that shit in and he fucking sold that one.
Right. I'll say this. I don't think he's outstayed his welcome, if that makes any sense. Like I don't
I
think.
have a
Yeah.
I have a comparison. I think they're making him Trick's Prince Nana.
You know what? That's actually not a terrible, like, if he wants to stay around, like, yeah, have him come out, like, yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to like do the little dance, like, but that's a good poll, Brandon. That's definitely
Or the selling weed bit.
the selling weed bit, yeah, or his coffee talk garments or whatever the hell he was doing. Like, I mean, like that's kind of what got Swerve over, to be honest with you. I mean, like Trick's already over, but that's actually a good comparison. So that was the ESPN2 portion. Then, Danhausen and the whole Danhausen thing. Listen, I said this on my social media. I think I said this to you guys in our chat that we have. Listen, I'm all for fun. I was very sports entertained by this. It did seem like it got a little bit long, and I was like, it just feels on a 5-match PLE that maybe that match itself kind of maybe outstayed its welcome a little bit too long, but it was fun. A lot of people were just throwing out these names of like, hey, Jelly Roll. Some people were saying Shane McMahon. People wanted CM Punk. Listen, bringing in the old El Torito, which we found out after that was actually El Torito, WLC for life. That's you guys remember the WLC match. It was fun. And listen, I think Danhausen, everything that guy has done really since his debut has been money. And I just hope that WWE doesn't like overdo it too much to the point where people don't want to see him, but they recognize that he has a ton of value and he's over. The people love him no matter how goofy he is. And I remember somebody telling me this when he got to AEW a few years ago. By the way, he got signed with a broken leg, which still is one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. Everybody's told me if you let Danhausen work, he can wrestle. It's just he's the character that he plays is just he's a complete goof. But given what they did, I think Miz is great. I think Kit's great. For the match that it was, I mean, personally, I would have maybe had that on SmackDown, but it was fine. It was sports entertaining. Maybe it went a little bit too long. It's just like, I wish this maybe would have landed better if the show was not just 5 matches. Maybe if you went 6 or 7. So
That's another thing I said too about the show, that I felt like it was formatted really
it flowed
differently.
really well. But the problem was, it's like once you get to the end and you're looking at your clock, you're like, holy shit. It's like, it's like not even, it's just after 8 o'clock and the main event's starting. And we're like, holy shit, this thing's about to be over.
Well, don't forget, it also started at 6
It
Eastern.
also started at 6, yeah. So because TKO is trying to format these shows early to kind of like sync up with like, their UFC events, Zuffa boxing. So like that's kind of the one thing. And listen, as a West Coast guy, I'm not going to be against, hey, having a show go off the air at 6 o'clock my time, but it's still, I think they maybe, if they wanted to, and I think this is just a Triple H thing going back to his NXT days, having these 5-match shows is a little bit, it feels like they're leaving a little bit of, a little bit open that they could potentially, add another match. Because like I said, look at WrestleMania. They had a 7-match night and a 6-match night. Why can't you do that for every single PLE? So, Asuka and Io was great. I love the spot where Io blocked the mist with Wade's notepad.
Wade Barrett's notes.
That was tremendous. They worked a really good match. It was a really good story. They didn't really, I don't think, let the Kyrie stuff really distract them. And like I said, like I've said to a lot of people, is like, listen, I know everybody wanted that match to be on WrestleMania. It sucked that Io Sky didn't get a chance to be on WrestleMania after being the champion the last 2 years. But the fact that this match happened here and it might be the end for Asuka, I think this was the perfect way to go out. If this is the end for her, given, they got the right amount of time, the crowd was really invested in it. And everything really hit. And then obviously you could see the emotion from the two of them after the match. It was great. So I think, yes, in theory, hey, they did it at Backlash. They didn't do it at WrestleMania. In some cases, that's actually kind of a good thing. So, and then Roman and Jacob, really interesting. And I was dreading the worst, that we were going to potentially get bloodline nonsense and, everybody was going to interfere and there was going to be 47 different ref bumps. I got a little nervous when the ref took the bump near the end of the match. I was like, oh God, here we go. And, hey, Roman survived. And it was, they made Jacob look menacing in the post match, telling you that this thing isn't over. I don't necessarily know fully if it's actually a heel turn, because Jacob is so freaking over that he's going to get reactions no matter what. And maybe they're just showing him to be, a freaking lunatic, because that's what they've been trying to show him to be for the last couple of years. Like, maybe they're just reinforcing, hey, he's the Samoan werewolf. He's gonna freaking kill you if, you cross him. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. You guys think it might be Italy? Who knows? With Cody already on the card, but Roman's announced for it. So, but listen, what Roman's done, really, with winning the championship with against Punk, and then this, I'm pleased to see that it's not the same old shit. It's Roman is, winning these matches on his own. Yeah, he kind of cheated to win here, which leaves it open-ended. But like I said, overall, probably around a B plus, maybe. Like, this was, I mean, not saying that, like WWE's PLEs this year haven't been great, but this was okay. And the crowd definitely helped. So.
All right, main event hub.
No, I felt, so this card was good, but I also felt at the same time that majority of these matches could have been saved for like Raw or SmackDown. It didn't have like a PLE feel to it.
a good
The
call.
flow of the show was 10 times better than what Mania was. So that's a plus. Rollins Breaker, I think, was the match of the night. Really shown out there for a Breaker. Rollins, was going to deliver no matter what. Trick Sammy, surprisingly better than what I thought it was going to be. But that's one of the matches I felt probably could have been saved for like a SmackDown. Danhausen, the Midgethausens versus Miz and Kit Wilson. Fun little match. Probably went a little too long. Like, it didn't need to be as long as it was. Danhausen obviously should have gotten a win there. He did get the win there. Asuka felt like, I don't know, but like Big E's pushing it as this could be Asuka's retirement if you saw the post show.
Yeah.
So that leads me to believe that maybe it's not, if they're starting to comment on it. So I think we're going to get something of that probably before we're done recording here or tomorrow. EO need the win here. I said it in our group chat that EO need to show out here, because if you paid attention the last few months, EO's kind of been Rhea's little puppy for the last 6 months. And she really needs to start getting over that and get back to being one of the best women wrestlers in the entire world. And I think tonight was a good step in the right direction. You can miss me on the John Cena participation trophy tournament. I don't give two shits about that.
We both didn't even, me and Deejay didn't even really mention that.
Oh my God. So you're having a tournament called the John Cena Classic. Right? The buddy's not dead. So I don't know how it's a classic. Usually you name classics after people who are dead. But forget that. We're going to have a tournament where none of the matches matter. And even if you lose, we're all still winners. And it's a popularity contest where nothing matters. That's literally what it is. You're going to be wasting a Saturday or Friday. Where are you going to do this? Probably a Saturday night where a lot of these matches just don't mean shit. And at the end of the night, you're going to have like Danhausen win the John Cena Classic. And it is kind of ironic that it's going to involve NXT stars, how John Cena magically became this dude that cares about putting over young talent. Sure, the Nexus feel a different way on that one. And then the main event, good match. I think they did as much as they could to keep Jacob hot while having him lose. It's pretty. I don't think this is going to end with Jacob winning the world title here.
Yeah,
but I think the goal of this feud should be establishing Jacob as a monster heel, and I think tonight was good step in it. Probably got to do a lot more than this fucking little choke he's doing, but all in all, decent, good night. Good for a PLE for WWE, which has been very lackluster for the last year. But once again, some of these matches probably were better off for like Raw or SmackDown.
Well, it is a B
No,
level
I
pay
agree.
per views. I was
I'm
going to
just
say it is
happy
a B
for.
level.
No,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
DJ. I'm just saying that it is a B level pay per view. So, no one was expecting, these quote unquote dream matches on it.
Yeah, they
So,
literally had they literally had 3 weeks from Mania to now to build this thing, and like
Now they got 2 weeks from now till Saturday Night Main Event.
Yeah.
And then a week after that,
and then
is
they got
Clash.
and then you got Turin. Yeah, so it's just like, and this is kind of the problem with some of these condensed schedules is like you don't really get a chance to let some things breathe. And I think, doing this show 3 weeks after Mania, that's why you ended up getting some matches that maybe felt like they should be on TV, to Hub's point. That's kind, and this goes into like, if you're going to do a 5-match show, then you got to kind of, put some of your best foot forward. Otherwise, hey, I'm not saying that you need to be like AEW and have 9-10 match shows every single PLE. Like, but
shit, that's a low show for AEW.
No,
There's way more than fucking 10 matches.
They've like, if you're that depends if you're counting the pre-show, DJ. Like if you're counting the pre-show, we're getting
the
close
people
to like
who are
13.
attending are counting the pre-show.
Well, I don't even think you can kill AW for the 10 matches. It's the fact that like every match needs to be magically a 20-minute classic for some reason.
That is the problem. I'm okay with, because listen, when we were doing this with pay-per-views and stuff on the WWE network, Vince and everybody was booking 7-8 match shows, and some of these matches were going like 5-6 minutes. Some of them were going like 10-15. Like the ones that needed to go 25-30 needed to go 25-30. But AEW has this constant need for every single match to be 15, 20, 25 minutes. And then you're getting to the end of the night, and most of you guys, like I know Brandon, I'm assuming DJ, and like you guys are all on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. So these late nights, and especially on Sunday nights, you're like, crap, it's midnight. I got to get up for work the next day. And we're dragging these things out. And it's just like this constant need to like, deliver a banger. And it's like, I think the people, sometimes you don't need to go longer than 10 minutes to get your shit over. And I think you guys would agree with that. It's just like that.
Oh yeah, like, Brock and Oba was only like 5 minutes.
5 minutes, exactly. Yeah, Brock Goldberg at Media 33 was 5 minutes. They got in, get out, got all their shit in, and it was good. Like you don't need to like go through all the flips and bullshit to generate a pop. And the more
get people to care.
And then the frustrating thing, like going back to like the early stages of AEW, they had some good stories. You guys remember like the Omega and the Hangman stuff, and with the Bucks, like early AEW, and this is what frustrates me so much about like the modern AEW sicko, is they sort of act like the previous era was not good because they just get all these bangers.
Cody
MJF, exactly. Cody Jericho at that Full Gear where MJF screws him out of the side. Like some of the early stuff in AEW was really good. And people just want to act like that didn't happen because, Cody's not there anymore. Punk's not there. Dude, Punk and MJF. Legitimately, hell, even Punk Eddie Kingston. Like you have all these other things. It's just like, but I know we're getting kind of sidetracked here, but it's just like, dude, you don't need to like resort to just doing 20-minute classics, especially on free television, which I know we could probably get into this other piece of like when we kind of mosey around with this with, Darby Allin being the world champion. You don't need to throw your world champion out there for 20 minutes just because, hey, we need a wrestling match. If it's a good story and it's compelling and it engages your audience, you don't need to do a bunch of flips and bullshit to get over. So
the one thing I don't miss about all AEW is the fact where they would just randomly say like, oh, it's all part of a story. And they'd be like, well, where's the story? And they'd be like, well, go watch BTE.
Yeah.
I don't miss that at all.
Well, and now the modern thing to do, not watch BTE, go watch New Japan. Go watch this company. Go watch this company. Go to Cage Match. Go to YouTube.
Go watch BTE.
Hey, that's still going. Last I saw Dark Order.
They just started it back up.
Oh, but Dark Order. Remember when those guys were super popular with John Silver and Reynolds? Like those guys actually got.
Oh, they were fucking hilarious.
They were fucking hilarious with the stuff with Hangman was actually kind of great.
They should have won. They should have been the team to beat the Bucks for the tag titles on, not the Lucha Brothers.
Even though we love Penta. I love
swing
Penta.
It back to Backlash. I think if we're going to be putting the first 2 matches of the show on ESPN every show, then you need to have more matches that are going to be on the app itself, because otherwise you're giving away pretty much half the show for free.
Right.
So we need to go back to 6 or 7 if you're going to put 2, and then you still have your 5, your 5 matches on your PLE.
I wonder if they're going to, do you guys think that they're going to do that same setup when they go to Italy? Because that's going to be that's a 2 p.m. Eastern start. That's a 2 p.m. Eastern start. Like, I wonder if they're actually going to do that. Well, because I mean, it's probably going to be on 2. They're probably not going to put it. They're probably not, they'll probably put it on ESPN too, if anything. So they probably won't put it at real ESPN because it'll probably overlap with. Well, sometimes on Sundays, ESPN's putting their best basketball game on ABC, so it probably won't overlap. But that's going to be interesting to see if they actually do that because, like I said, it's a 2 p.m. Eastern, start time for, Clash in Italy at the end of the month.
For the first 2 matches, the right 2 matches to showcase on ESPN.
Yeah. So if you're gonna have Cody and Roman on that show, one of them probably has to be on that first hour, right? You would think, right? Because one of them's going to main event.
It's probably going to be Cody. It's not going to be Roman.
Yeah.
I wonder if you do that, do you try and do maybe, depending on what's going on that day, maybe you try to convince and get it on ABC?
I mean, that would be big. I mean, I would think
that would be huge.
I mean, I would have thought that maybe if they were going to do that, they probably would have done that for something like Mania, or maybe they do it for SummerSlam. Do it for something bigger.
The issue with Mania, that was that wasn't Final Four weekend. That was
they've been doing it later.
That was playoffs. So they weren't going to bump up on for Obafemi.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It was. I don't know if were the Lakers. No, I don't think the Lakers were playing.
I don't know who the fuck was playing that night, but I think that was the first weekend of the NBA playoffs.
No, it was the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
Mania
no,
weekend,
that was during the week.
Yeah, but
that Saturday, Sunday.
I think the Celtics
was the first night of the playoffs.
I think the Celtics played early, and then I think it was Pistons, Magic, and then I think the Spurs. So anybody who's a fan of Wemby probably was. I have a bunch of friends from Texas who are Spurs fans, so they were probably semi-locked into Mania, but they were also locked into.
Your choices
Charles Barkley, I bet, hates their ass.
Your choices were Wembenyama or go see I Show Speed.
I Show Speed, yes, exactly.
I feel, bring it back to Clash in Italy, they got to go 7 matches. I mean,
right.
They did 7 for Evolution, so I don't understand. Like, why did Evolution go 7, but yet we're keeping it to 5 with everything else?
Because they were trying to highlight women and do the whole women equality thing, and
we've also had a Elimination Chamber and I think Royal Rumble. Weren't they both 4-match shows? I think they were
Right,
both
but you also had
Yeah.
specialty matches in
But
those.
Right,
you got
exactly.
2-hour-long gimmick matches too,
Right.
though, on top of that.
Yeah, that's part of it. But also, like, now when we're getting the Backlash and it's only 5 matches, it's like, dude,
They do need they need to be able to find that balance and understand that, like, they can get away with during like a Royal Rumble or Survivor Series or a Money in the Bank where they're doing these hour-long gimmick matches. Okay, we got 4 matches on the card because we got 2-hour-long gimmick matches, a mid-card title, or a regular title match. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much Money in the Bank or Royal Rumble and
right?
so on and so forth, to where on a pay-per-view like a Backlash or a Clash in Italy or a Night of Champions, I feel like a 6-match card is kind of the perfect balance, especially with how WWE paces their matches. Like, you get at least a 10-15 intermission in between each match, between the promo packages and them moving things around, getting people ready, to where with AEW, at least I'm using this comparison to compare the difference in their pay-per-views. AEW, you're getting 15, 20-minute matches back to back to back.
Yeah,
Like,
no breathing room.
There's maybe like 2-3 minutes in between because they're playing a video package to set up the next match, but then the next match is immediately out and ready to go another 20 minutes. And you got to go through that at least 10 times throughout the night.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel like if you get that 6 and 7 match happy medium, especially with the way WWE does it, I feel like would be a little bit easier to a wrestling fan, especially one paying fucking $30 for ESPN or $15 a month for Netflix just to watch your content. You got to at least make. I feel like right now WWE isn't making WWE fans money worth it anymore, justifying what we're paying out to be fans here.
I mean, a big issue is Triple H is booking these PLE like formats and stuff like he's still doing NXT.
Yep,
It's
that's a
easy
great
to
call.
do 4 matches of NXT when it's only one show and probably like only 12 of them are actually over. But you got 2 whole brands here that combine almost 6 hours of television. And you saw SmackDown's world champion wasn't on a PLE. None of the entire tag division, both sides weren't even
What
involved.
the hell happened? What the hell happened?
None
This-
of you
What tag?
Neither- Neither women's world
tag division?
champion.
Neither were the
neither women's world champion. Out of your 4 mid-card titles between male and female, only one was showcased. And then, I mean,
Don't even start with the women's United States
entire
Championship.
SmackDown
Is just,
main event scene was not present in this.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying, even if you don't have Cody or Gunther, no one from the SmackDown main event
is
side
Jacob
or high
technically
mid-card.
is
I'm
Jacob
guessing
technically a
I
Raw
don't
guy?
know I think they're probably going to move him to Raw. I think it's probably him and Gunther swap.
Right.
That feels like the logical choice. But like there's so much that was not showcased and on PLEs consistently. You're either completely leaving off one entire thing, or you are, it's either you're leaving off one major thing or you're pretty much just repetitive shit. Like this felt like more Raw tonight with like a sprinkle of the SmackDown like fill-ins.
Yeah.
Like
No, I'm glad
Danhausen or the
The
Gingerbread Man.
Danhausen match was technically the only SmackDown match on the show. So if you take that match, if you take that match out, this is you guys remember the old brand exclusive shows? This felt like a Raw show. This felt like a Raw PLE. Like the Danhausen match.
I didn't have an issue with the women's world champions not being on the show because they really haven't had a storyline or a challenger.
Right.
Because
No,
it's so.
But none of your women's champions.
None of them.
And
not a single one.
Well, and this is where like I was like I would have been totally okay if they would have put the Fatal Influence Charlotte's Rhea match on this show rather than doing it on SmackDown. Like, and if you do that, hey, that's 6. And then maybe if you want to add another one, because it's just like it felt like like, even if this was a solid enough show, it felt like something was missing because you're 5 matches in. The first 2 matches are done within the first hour because they're on linear television. They're on ESPN2. And then you get through, it's like, oh, we only have 3 matches left. And then there's the John Cena announcement that happened right before the main event. So it's just like, it's weird because like before Hub even brought that up, I was like, wait a second. He's right. Like legitimately, like Jacob's technically still a SmackDown star, but outside of that, none of SmackDown was showcased on this show. No, well, actually, that's not true. Trick and Sammy was. I misspoke there. Trick and Sammy. So, but that's the mid card. Like the main event scene, to Hub's point, like Cody's dealing with Gunther. I know they weren't going to do that on this show.
No
but
Rhea.
Still, like it
no
wasn't
Tiffany.
like no Rhea on this show.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Although I'm very happy that they're giving my girl Kiana some minutes.
I think
she's great.
She should
I
far is winning most improved wrestler of the year to me, in terms of
she's true.
Since the beginning of the year, she's been everywhere, and everywhere she goes, there are eyes on her, and she's vastly improving every time I see her more.
Yeah, she's great. What also helps that she's training with Charlotte. Like that helps you. That helps you in a number of different things. It helps you get better in the ring. It also helps that you have a powerful ally in the women's locker room in Charlotte. So, but yeah, I mean, Tiffany, I don't know if you guys can attest, like really since she came back from the injury up until she's kind of regressed.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think she peaked early. That's what I think what it is. It's not that she's regressed, is that she peaked so early in her career. Again, you got to think of how over she got in her first year on the main roster. And how many women, let alone how many people, let alone women, get that over that fast and stay that over. You know what I mean? I think the only woman who applies that is Rhea. And there's not really many Rhea Ripley's just lying around like that. I'm pretty sure she's once in a generation type of superstar.
I don't think you can give Rhea that.
What'd you say, Hub? I'm sorry?
I don't think you can give Rhea that. It took Rhea. I don't think you can give Rhea that. It took Rhea a hot minute to get over. Because remember, she debuted during the, effectively on the main roster during the first half attendance Mania thing they did. And then
she was popular in NXT. She was popular
in NXT, but it took her a hot minute on the main roster. I wouldn't say a hot
minute.
For whatever reason.
It wasn't until Judgment Day.
It wasn't until Judgment Day. By that point, she was already a year plus on the main roster.
For whatever reason, Vince could not figure out how to book
That's
her.
what it was.
I don't know what it was. Like, for whatever reason, because you guys remember, like, she did win at the kind of semi-COVID Mania 37 over Asuka because she wasn't supposed to be there. Like, I think that was supposed to be Charlotte, and Charlotte got COVID. So, like, that wrecked everything. And then Rhea was just kind of running around. You had Nikki Cross as with the superhero gimmick. And she's going back and forth with Charlotte before they had really their best match, which was at 39 when she had the character change. But it wasn't until Judgment Day that she kind of, had the right character and the right, sort of presentation to fully get over. And then, once Triple H, and then the Dom stuff, all that stuff.
See, Rhea was definitely over before
she was
Judgment
pretty much
Day. I feel like Judgment Day catapulted her to superstardom. No. Like, you know what I mean? She definitely took that next step with Dominic and the Judgment Day. But Rhea was definitely a star when she got on the main roster. She was definitely a main event player feuding with Charlotte, Becky, and all the top women, the Baileys at the time. Like, she was definitely immediately working with all those women.
She wasn't yet. She wasn't yet. So she won the title from Asuka, and then she lost the title. And then after that, she pretty much went until the Raquel Rodriguez role up until recently, where she was just the muscle for
she was with Liv. She was with Liv. She was with,
and then it was
Nikki Cross.
And then she turned, and then they pretty much threw her into the Judgment Day as a last attempt to figure out something with her.
And it worked.
It took until the Judgment Day for her to actually like really get over with the crowd.
Well, and here's the thing, like with Triple H, like when she was in NXT, you guys remember this, like she was super popular, and you were thinking like, man, if she can catapult this to the main roster, she was going to go somewhere. But for whatever reason, whatever it was like a Vince thing or if it was something else, like it just didn't work.
I think it was just standards and practices.
And so then she was casted. Right. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
But no. But to bring it back to Tiffany, because I don't want to go too far down the Rhea rabbit hole. Like, I think she hit her peak too quickly and too fast to where it seems like she really is on a decline, to where in reality it's just we're off the Tiffany high and we need to just do something different with her. Like the baby, at least definitely as a baby face. I think she needs to go back to being a heel. I think being the bitchy blonde is what worked for her in the first place. And with Charlotte pretty much being a baby face, we're missing the bitchy blonde in WWE. So I think we need to.
You've got Liv on Raw. You've got Liv on Raw, but
at least on SmackDown.
And you're about to get Blake Monroe on SmackDown.
Blake Monroe, that's a good one. Yeah. Like
or make them attack.
Like, listen, I would
do that honestly with Tiffany too. Let's redo kind of the Tony thing. Have Blake be Tiffany's understudy and trying to learn off of Tiffany and try to do, you feel me? Not completely like the Tony thing, but do like the understudy thing. She wants to learn from Tiffany because Tiffany's her big sis.
Because do
the big sister, little sister.
I see where you're going. The difference is, I don't know if people are going to actually buy into that, knowing that Mariah May, Blake Monroe has way more experience and has been doing this, even though they're practically the same age. Like Blake has been doing this like for what? Forever. Somebody showed me a clip of her being in the front row at a SmackDown in London like 10 years ago. Holy crap. So she's been around.
I think if
forever.
you're going to do that, it'd make more sense to just drop her in between Alexa and Charlotte.
Or that too. It could work with Charlotte too. Anyone blonde, it would work. Let's be honest. This is WWE we're talking about.
Tiffany has run her course as a babyface.
You don't gotta be a blonde.
It's gotten to a point where like I see her come out and doing the whole Tiffy time thing. I'm like, guys, we've got to stop milking this. Like, I get it. She's got a cool little catchphrase. It's her name. It's cool. Her stuff in NXT is what got her fast track to the main roster. Like, she's got a cool move set. I mean, obviously with the gymnastics background, but her character being like the spoiled rich kid, like daddy's little girl thing, like, and then she gets to the main roster, like she's just arrogant and cocky and the toodles stuff. Like, it was like the blonde bitch in high school, right? Like and it's just like, or it was like, what was it? Clueless?
Yes,
What was that?
With
what was
Alicia
the movie
Silverstone.
Clueless? Like where you had like the ditzy, Alicia Silverstone, like the airheads who who are the blondes. Like it's like, and I'm not trying to be derogatory or anything like that, but it's just like, that character fit her. And now ever since she turned on Nia, and I understood that she was popular, everybody loved Tiffy time and everything. They've just kind of reduced her and dumbed her down to the point of, okay, she's just a catchphrase with a cool moveset. And it's like, no, she was much better when she was a heel because you can actually portray her and,
it kind of sucks for
spoiled,
WWE right now too, because the two most over baby faces they have right now on SmackDown both need to turn heel. Like Tiffany and Rhea, I think right now would be instantly refreshed with a heel turn. Rhea definitely more than Tiffany. Honestly.
Yeah, but then if you turn Rhea, who's her challenger?
Who's the top? Yeah, who's the top baby face?
There's really no one. There's really no one on SmackDown unless you're breaking up Alexa. And as far as Tiffany goes, it looks like they're building something with Chelsea Green with her.
Yeah.
So maybe that's going to be the catalyst to get her to turn heel.
I don't think Chelsea Green's wrestled for a bit.
No, I know.
Did
Oh,
she
but
just
they've
have like
been-
heart surgery?
I hope she's
Yeah, she
okay.
got
But
like
yeah,
a
she's
stent.
on the. Yeah.
She got like a stent put in or something. But point is
Yeah, I
that
think
they've
it's
been
gonna be a
building
bit.
towards it, and they still, even with her out, they put her on camera. They had a video with her speaking to Tiffany. So there is some sort of like small story they're building there. So maybe that'll be the catalyst to somehow get Tiffany to turn.
Well, because now, Chelsea, whenever she gets back, she's got no backup. Because we don't know when Piper Niven's coming back or if she's ever coming back. And Alba Fire just got released. So, like, maybe there's
Listen, I
something
don't
there.
give a fuck.
I don't know.
If first thing Piper Niven does when she comes back, she needs to feud with Jade. Okay? I don't give a shit. That's all I want to see from Piper Niven. I want her and Jade to lock horns, to cut promo. Just give both these bitches a mic and just let them go off on each other. Let them say everything they've wanted to say each other for the past 2 months. Just let it happen. Honestly, that's my most anticipated feud of 2026. Piper Nivens versus Jade Cargill. Okay, I can't wait for them to fucking shoot on each other in the ring. Okay, that Twitter, you don't understand how real that Twitter exchange was because Piper didn't know it was a work. Okay, she didn't know Rhea and Jade were working. She thought Rhea was just piling in on this bitch. So she was like, "Oh, we going in on this bitch? It's about motherfucking time." Someone says something to this hoe.
Chelsea didn't Chelsea get involved
Chelsea
in that
posted
too? I
something
think Chelsea got
saying
involved in
Rhea is
that
the
too.
kindest person in the world, and Jade wrote something back to Chelsea saying some shit, and that's when Piper said, "Hold up, wait."
Wait, but let me ask you this: if it was a work, why would they not have put it into the WrestleMania
I think
storyline?
so. Hold on.
Just
Why'd they
It started
completely
as a
ignore
work
it?
and it turned to a shoot. The Rhea Jade back and forth thing on Twitter
It
initially,
sucked.
that was them working. Anyone could see that from a mile away, and you know the WWE playbook of things. But Jade going out of her way to mock the Chelsea thing because she thought Chelsea was butting into business that wasn't hers when Chelsea was just posting something nice about Rhea. That's when it turned into a shoot. Because Chelsea responded as a shoot. Then Piper was like, "Oh, let me tell this bitch what it's really about." And then they had to remove it all and settle it. And that's why they dropped the Jade and Rhea thing, because it turned what started as a work into a shoot. And they were like, "Yeah, we're not gonna make the same mistake we did with Tiffany and Charlotte last year." Even though I think they should have,
Yeah.
in hindsight, they should have just went with it.
It would have been much more interesting.
They definitely were trying to handle that thing with kid gloves. Well, because they didn't really have anything for them, because the initial plan was going to be Bianca and Jade, and then Bianca, had the finger thing.
I was gonna say, then she got the other
that we
finger
found
thing.
out about at WrestleMania. Oh, jeez.
Now, if it was only a finger, she wouldn't be pregnant. So
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, like they were just trying. They had 5-6 weeks to figure out what they wanted to do with, and they tried to generate something. It got a little too hot, and then people got their feelings hurt, and they kind of had to dumb it down to the point of we got what we got on the road to WrestleMania, and the match was way better than the build was. But so
all right. So I want to trigger DJ on 2 different accounts and 2 different things. First things first, Royce Keys.
I can get that one.
Powerhouse.
That's I want to know, what after last night, what do you feel about how they're using him? He was on, I think, 4 or 5 segments last night. So he was sprinkled throughout the entire show. And I know you've been very critical of, him this
Who
year
gives
in
a
WWE.
shit? I mean, who gives a shit? No one's talking about it. I don't see shit about Royce Keys on Twitter. I don't see YouTube videos blowing up with Royce Keys and people typing that. I don't see that shit trending on fucking Twitter. I'm still justified in having it. Just because they're using him doesn't mean it's guaranteed the work. If anything, they're overusing him and over bastardizing him because they know they fucked up and they're trying to fix their fuck up drastically, which is fine. Throwing him with the MFTs is something, but are we going to sit here and act like the MFTs are going to be the thing to
stuff
put
I
Hobbs
liked.
over? No. Are the MFTs going to be someone to make Hobbs give a shit? Not based on current recent memory. They were just working with the fucking Wyatts. Now we're supposed to just magically give a shit about the MFTs when they just got done working with the Wyatts and got half of their fucking faction gutted? No. So as far as like I said, he's still DOA to me until this motherfucker starts getting Road Warrior pops. I'm right.
All right,
Well-
first off, no one's getting Road Warrior pops, so that's not a
nobody's
fair
getting-
assessment. So one second, Mike. I actually want to get Main Event Hub in here because I don't think I've heard his take on, Royce Keys and his positioning. So I do want to get his insight on this.
They fucked up debuting at
Thank
the
you.
Rumble. And then we all sat there and be like, okay, maybe it's because the Saudis don't care about AEW. Maybe that's why he's not over. And then they debuted him in his hometown. Crickets. And then he won the Andre Battle Royal. Crickets. And so they're using him. They're telling a story with him. They gave us his background. We know about him. But he's not over. He's getting crickets. He is muscled up Natty Neihart right now. And I'm not saying that could not change. Because at one point, LA Knight, when he transferred back to LA Knight, he was not that over either. But gradually it took time. With him, it could take time. But right now, in this moment, he's not over. People just sit on their hands when he comes out. And that's the issue with him right now. And I don't think he's charismatic enough to get himself over on the mic. So it's really going to have to come down to what he does in the ring. And you got to ask yourself, does what he does in the ring good enough to create a following or a potential massive fan base with him? And then on top of that, was bringing him in as a face the right call?
Hubs, you know how to say all the right fucking things.
Probably not. Probably not. So, like, the entire presentation of him, they may have fucked up. And he's probably someone that needed a mouthpiece when debuting to help get him over. Because now what you're going to be relying on is his look and how he does in the ring. Because him on the mic is not going to get him over. It's not going to be like LA Knight where he has this catchphrase where it's just boom, he's going to ride off on a rocket ship because he's that charismatic and stuff. He's not that. He wasn't in AEW either. He got over in AEW because he was different than everyone else, because everyone else is like 5'8". And here's this big muscled up dude just showing up, and he's pretty decent in the ring.
Or if you're just a big dude.
But as you see in WWE, just because you're decent in the ring,
they got a lot of those in
doesn't
WWE.
mean you're going to get over, aka Natty Neidhart. So, like, he's just
Tala Tonga.
You got a big dude in WWE. You got Braun Breaker. You got Oba Femi. You got, even throw in Solo.
I'm just saying
you got
big
Jacob.
people.
Those are considered like big guys, kind of. I don't want to go that far. But
we're talking about guys who are big people.
But like, he was literally a big fish in a small pond in AEW. But he wasn't really that over in AEW. He had a cool name, but when he was on his own, it never went far. When he was in a group as like the second or third fiddle, he got over. Now they're trying to present him as this savior, as a solo guy now, and it's not working.
Yeah.
So I'm really concerned about Powerhouse Hobbs, because his in-ring work, from just based on what it was in AEW, is okay.
Hold on. Before you say
But
anything, Brandon,
Just
before you
because you're
say
good,
anything,
just because you're decent in ring is not going to get you over, and he's not
I
charismatic
just want to
enough to get
say
himself over on the mic.
Hub is 100%
So
right, and
unless
he
you're
think-
turning
at
him,
least finally
it's going
someone
to be
on
really
this planet
scary.
understands me and gets me and doesn't make me feel like I'm a fucking lunatic for at least stating the fucking obvious and the truth and just pointing out the goddamn facts and taking WWE's history and how they push people under consideration in what I say and not just giving them a fucking pass because they're 3 famous letters. No, Powerhouse Hobbs, I'm saying, is DOA for all the same reasons Hub just mentioned. They're pushing him as a babyface for no reason, just because he has a sympathetic story. Nothing else he does in the ring or his personality or what he can do as far as his strengths exude him being a babyface right now. 2, he definitely needs a mouthpiece, a Trick Williams or a Ricky Saints, another guy on that roster that they just brought up who's getting no fucking reactions either. So guess what? Pairing them up might be the best thing for both of them to do, because Ricky can talk his fucking ass off and Hobbs can do some big, powerful, devastating moves. Debuting him at the Rumble fucked him. This is the exact formula they almost did with Rey Fenix, except he can actually talk a lot more English than Rey Fenix. So we're going to feature him in some backstage promos with some people we know to see if he can get the fucking rub off. But that's literally all they're doing, and it's not going to work in the long run. He's going to become another Sheamus, another Rusev, another who else is another mid? A Wade Barrett, a mid Carter who's going to get lost in the fucking shuffle, and no one's really going to give a living fuck about in the long term. Sheamus is probably a bad example because Sheamus is a lifer people care about. But go ahead, Brandon.
Well, what do you? I want to.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you think that doing this rub with Jacob Fatu and showing them as being buddies is something that's going to help, or do you think it's just a waste of time? And I don't mean that. I know DJ's opinion on it, but I mean putting him with someone who's a level above. At least you have a backup plan. If
Right.
both of them flounder, you can put them into a tag team. So I'm just curious if the other Mike and Hub, what you feel about the whole Jacob connection.
Like I actually I'm a little bit interested in what they're doing here, because maybe he's like the voice of reason. Because like when the thing about their interactions, because I'm totally with the room here on this, is like, because I love Hobbs. I actually think he's great. I think if given the right material and given the right opportunities, which he wasn't given in AEW, and he hasn't really been given a lot to run with. I'm not going to say he's dead on arrival yet, but he's fighting an uphill battle because there's already a big powerhouse guy who's gotten over in like Rover on the other brand in Oba. And basically you're in a situation where Hobbs is much older than him. He's been in the business for very long. And, they haven't really put him in a spot to basically accentuate his strengths. So the best thing that they had going for him is like, hey, let's tell his story and his upbringing being from the mean streets of East Palo Alto, California. And that's neat. But the most interested that I've been in him since he got there was the stuff that he was doing with Jacob, saying, hey, we've done this. It kind of humanized him, and you could actually see that connection play out on television. Like, but then they're associating themselves with the MFTs, and I'm like, okay, who gives a shit? Like the MFTs, like they've been dragging down things for a while. And I think Solo's better than, people give him credit for, but it's just like that group has just been like knockoff Bloodline for years now. So I'm just at the point where, like, listen, I hope that they do something. I'm not holding my breath that they're going to do something with this connection with Jacob and Hobbs, and, especially with Jacob continuing with this whole thing with Roman. Maybe there's some sort of connection to put, Royce Keys, Hobbs on a different level to, put him in a situation. Hey, I'm not going to say he's aligning himself with Jacob, But, having those interactions at least, kind of presented him, okay, he kind of at least somewhat matters on this show. But if you're just going to do those things in passing and not, capitalize on that, then like DJ and Hub have said, it's like he's kind of fighting an uphill battle. And like the debut at the Rumble and seeing how everything played out, that just screwed him. It's like you wanted to try and get a pop from, and you wanted to try and, say, get all these people who are like going to dunk on AEW. You get him right away. You debut him in Saudi Arabia. You throw Powerhouse Hobbs up on the graphic, and then just debut him. He has a decent enough showing in the Rumble, but then he's off television for 3 months. And we're like, what the fuck's going on? So, they I don't know if they really had any sort of a plan for him, which sucks because, like I said, I think he's good if given the right opportunity. He just hasn't really been given that in AEW and in WWE. It's the same thing. It's like these guys don't know what, and WWE should know better. They know how to book big guys. So like, what's the problem here? It's like, are you trying to make it seem like you don't want them to be so alike because you got Oba just killing fools on the other place? Like, it's just like, I'm not saying Royce needs to like, go out there and murder people in like 90 seconds, but if you give him something to work with, then he can potentially do something. But the problem is it's just not there. The debut was flawed. And now you're at this point where it's like, okay, we gave him the Andre, but nobody gives a shit about that. So what's your next move? And until they do that next move, it's hard to really take him seriously, which sucks because, like I said, I really like what the stuff that he possesses, and it should be something that WWE is able to capitalize on, but they just haven't done it yet.
So I think after tonight, I don't think you could put Jacob in a tag team.
I'm not even saying put him in a tag team. I'm just saying, like, listen, have him in some sort of like alliance where, they don't have to tag, but it's just like, he's kind of supportive of him. I mean, maybe they end up doing a tag match or something like that. Because what my question is coming out of tonight, because I know we've kind of gone back and forth about this, is Jacob a heel or is this just Jacob losing his fucking mind? Like it's like, yeah, it kind of looks like a heel turn, but
I was gonna say they did that to Cody and Randy,
considering
and
like he's still been getting decent
Seth,
reactions from the crowd. The crowd was cheering him to go back. Well, they do that all the time with like those extended beatdown segments. Bro. I remember the "I'm not finished with you." That's one of my favorites.
That's the issue I have if you go back to Jacob. So assuming Jacob's going to lose this feud to Roman, you need to get Royce Keys over. Royce Keys is going to need a major victory. I don't think Jacob Fatu should be losing 2 straight feuds. That's where you run into that issue. Maybe when Drew comes back, maybe let Drew figure it out and put him over and stuff, and that's probably your way in to getting him over. But like right now, feuding with the MFTs, which seems to be once you feud the MFTs, you go the unemployment line as a reward, may not be what it's cracked out to be for him. I know he made a push to be straight to main roster, but he was probably better off going to NXT, where right now
I totally agree.
The face of NXT.
Totally agree. I thought that him and Ricky should have done a little short run in NXT, and I think what DJ said, putting those two together and reuniting the old Team Taz, I think would have been a much better idea of, potentially moving forward. But now, like I said, he's on his own, and like I said, once we got into it, it's like, okay, he's got a neat little backstory, but it's just like you're not going to get hooked in on that. Like, at least if you put him with Ricky or if you put him in NXT, especially when they need people. I mean, I understand that there was something about his age or whatever, and he's 40 years old. Who gives a shit? Like, who gives a crap? Like NXT, well, they're putting Evil down there, and Evil's like 39 years old. So it's like age shouldn't be an issue. So like this whole idea that like he needed to go to the main roster, that was another piece of it. And it was almost like, hey, we have an ex-AEW guy who just got out of his contract. We needed to showcase him immediately. I was like, no, you don't. Like, you could put him in a good spot to, like, like I said, accentuate his strengths And I think it would have, hell, like, you got this kid Keanu Carver down there who needs seasoning. But you got a bunch of young guys down there Jasper Troy, who needs seasoning. Put him there with like some young guys. Like, I'm not saying that you need to like make him the NXT champion, but
especially when you're trying
maybe
to
that would
figure
have been a
out
better
like
spot for
what's
him
his
to like,
character.
at least get his
Like
feet
if
wet
you're trying to do
and then
this
come up to the main
babyface
roster
thing
when
and
you have some sort of a
experiment
more
with it,
formulated
don't do
plan
it on
for
the
him.
main roster and
But they didn't do
you
that.
feel me, just doom his full career for failure off rip. Do it in NXT to where you can get away with repackaging him a time or two to where you find the right character for him to get him over. And it's,
Right.
again, accentuate his strengths. Instead of, okay, we're going to debut him at the Rumble with no context. We're going to also show his old name, but then also use his new name. And then have him do not, I wouldn't say the bare minimum, but just enough to get by in the Rumble. And then again, we don't see him until 2 weeks before Mania. And that's because everyone's bitching like, where the fuck is he? Why isn't he on the show? We just debuted him at the Royal Rumble. What was the whole point of bringing him in at Rumble? Like they had more than enough bodies without him to put into the Rumble. What did he really need to be in the Rumble for? Especially when you have Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Obafemi all in the fucking Rumble too, to take away attention from said guy's debut.
Hell, do you think he'd be more over if they let him keep the name?
I don't
If they
think.
let
I
him
don't
keep
think
the
the
name.
name. I don't think the name would have made a difference if he's not
No.
booked properly.
No.
Could have. With some people, because name matters. Like Max Dupree, he'll use LA Knight for example. He'll use Max Dupree. He wasn't fucking over with that. Name Chad Gable, Shorty G. Like names matter to a degree here.
But those
If
were
you
more than
debut
just.
like
those
say
were also just
Powerhouse,
Blake
completely.
Monroe is a
But you
decent
could say
wrestling name
Blake.
compared
They
to
changed
between.
Mariah May's
I
name to
think
Blake Monroe,
changing
and she's
Powerhouse
over
that's
Hobbs,
still a
going from Powerhouse
decent.
Hobbs to
I mean,
Royce
it's
Keys
still a
is
decent name. She still
definitely
has the same character and everything.
a way more significant change than Mariah May to Blake Monroe. Yes.
It's hard for me because
His son and
I
his mom's
think the
maiden
story
name.
is I think Royce named himself after his son. I believe that I think that was the story that was going on. He named him after his son, and Blake right, and then Blake, that's like her niece, I believe, is why she's Blake Monroe. So like these names are personal. I mean, it kind of sucks that you have to go through all this trademarking stuff to like change names when you go to WWE.
Jade.
And certain other people have been able to keep their name. I mean, they slightly altered Ricky's name to Ricky Saints. Ethan Page has been able to keep his name. They kept Jade Cargill. The Ethan Page has been able to keep his name. So like, to Brandon's point, I agree with him that like if the booking and the character and all the stuff and you're connecting with the audience, I don't think I like I said, name doesn't really matter. Like, cause like LA Knight was Eli Drake. LA Knight was Eli Drake. Like if you're over and you're able to carry yourself and connect with the audience, name doesn't mean shit.
I think also using Shorty G and Max Dupree, those were just completely different characters too.
Right.
Like if you had this version of Chad Gable,
hell no,
as Shorty G,
fuck no. Exactly. He was working the same last time. He's always been this good.
Supersede the name last time.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
I don't feel as Shorty G he was getting, being given the opportunities in the ring to put on the kind of matches he puts on now. I'd argue
during the Vince era, that was probably the most he was in ring.
If I remember right, like I think they changed to like when he was Chad Gable, because I think that's when Corbin won King of the Ring, and he was putting on some bangers. When he started donning the basketball jersey and basketball shorts, it wasn't the same. Like he's still like Chad Gable's still fucking great. And at the end of the month, we're assuming we're gonna magically get him back for the people who are still up with the bit saying, "Man, where the hell's Chad Gable been?"
Well, he said he's still. Well, OG Americano said on Monday he
Listen,
is
I
still
can't wait
recovering
for
from
that. That's the
shoulder
only AAA
injury.
match I'm looking forward
So
to this
they
year.
did explain where Chad is.
Which is some good storyline
Yeah.
continuity for a change. That is the biggest.
Don't
I'll be
let
honest
Leo.
with you.
we forgot
Don't
about
let
that
Leo
match.
hear you
That
say
is one of the
shit.
biggest matches in all of, and one of the biggest feuds in all of WWE. What they well, no, listen, like I don't think AAA is as good as our guy Leo, wants to trumpet it up. It's definitely exciting, and Undertaker has done an unbelievable job of making that place feel like at least some level of important. Like I'm not going to say it's the best thing that they've got, but Grande versus Grande at the end of the month feels like a fucking WrestleMania. Like it's like a WrestleMania main event in Mexico. It's unbelievable. Like and like the level of physicality and what Kaiser's done there to get himself over. Even with Bate and Dunn being involved, and now you got the Creeds involved. Like it feels like it's unbelievable that we just got through WrestleMania. And honestly, that's one of the most important matches that they're going to probably do all year in WWE, which is crazy. It's insane. This started as merely just a vehicle to give Chad Gable something else to do because he was feuding with Penta and he was feuding with a bunch of luchadors, and he was supposed to face Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania last year. And then he gets hurt. And Ludwig Kaiser comes in off the bench and does just this unbelievable job to the point where when Chad comes back, now you've got these guys, and you got Ludwig's real life girlfriend involved. It's like, where the fuck is this in WWE? Like it's unbelievable. Like I'm not actively tuning into AAA, but I'm gonna be watching that match at the end of the month. Like it's the fucking biggest match of the year. It's unbelievable. It seriously is unbelievable. And it's a testament to both those guys for what they've been able to do and what Undertaker's been able to do with what was supposed to be just such a ridiculous, comical, stupid gimmick and made it feel like a fucking WrestleMania main event.
In hindsight, yes. I agree.
And
Amazing.
they were smart not to do it at Mania because it would have got
absolutely. Dude, look at what WrestleMania was. I just said this. I said this earlier about the whole Io Asuka thing. They wouldn't have gotten the respect they deserve. Now they're going to get. They're getting a whole event planned around them to make it feel like the biggest match ever. And you've had these great segments on weekly television. This is the type of stuff that has kind of been lacking on main roster television, where you're getting these segments week in and week out. The crowd's connecting with these guys. The crowd's invested. We don't get that as often. Sometimes we do on main roster television, but when you got these guys with these pull apart brawls, and you've got real life girlfriends getting involved in certain things, you've got from week to week the story is advancing, everything feels consistent. It's like I said, I can't say enough good things about that feud. Like I said, I'm not going to go out of my way every Saturday night to watch AAA. But I've been keeping my eyeballs peeled on what's going on from week to week on social media, and everything that I see is just unbelievable.
And I think they're also going to be given a lot more leeway when it comes to the actual in-ring match.
Right.
To really go balls to the wall, whereas, you're going to be handcuffed by the quote-unquote WWE way of things. Where in AAA, even the brawl we saw a couple of weeks ago looked like it was a real brawl. It wasn't the usual WWE pull apart, with the fake, the really bad punches. They looked like they were just scrapping all over the place.
Kaiser came in and freaking smoked him. Dude,
yeah, so
that was unbelievable.
Who would have thought at the beginning of the year that Ludwig Kaiser versus Chad Gable would be the most anticipated wrestling match of the entire calendar year.
It's
Strictly because,
I mean,
and
we
we'll
can
get
we can
probably
get to
this
it
later,
now. We've been
strictly
on
because
WWE shit for
AEW
an hour.
fucked up their money match.
I know, I know Brandon's got opinions about this because I know and DJ, I'm sure that you've chimed in about this too. Like, yeah, the AEW circumstances, like,
Osprey,
don't even get me
MJF.
started
Wait,
on that place, man.
Way to shoot yourself in the foot.
Which match are you talking about that they fucked up the money match in AEW, Hub?
MJF Osprey rematch at Wembley.
Oh, okay.
Listen, we may not even get that. I'm trying to talk myself back into that, but I'm not even convinced that we get there. Considering, and it doesn't even make any sense because the rumor going around, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, it hasn't been confirmed yet. It seems like they're adding an extra show in between Forbidden Door and All In, Redemption in Montreal. And who's looking for Redemption from Canada? Kenny Omega. I listen, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm starting to think that Kenny Omega Will Ospreay is going to end up being the match. Or maybe you make it a triple threat, which I think would be stupid, but they've already kind of screwed this whole thing up by throwing this by sacrificing their best draw and their best people, guy
mid-carders
for a 6-week title run with Darby Allin, where he's just defending it against a bunch of random people, you know, going into.
Oh no, we missed it tonight. The Okada Allen is now off. It is now Darby Allin versus Takeshita. So that whole fucking angle you did on Dynamite / Collision was useless.
And they basically did it just to add some heat to Takeshita and Okada
instead of actually telling a story, and like because they've thrown
like
a couple
women's division.
They've thrown Okada, and like I said, we spent a lot of time talking about WWE.
So did I.
They spent time with giving Okada just random international championship matches. By the way, I listen, I totally forgot he was the champion because like the way that they've just positioned this whole, they've just totally positioned this whole thing. Because
Mark Davis just won the fucking national title.
The bad singles match in like 3 years.
And whoever
is he wrestling for the title?
Yes.
Listen, I want to say one thing about Brian Keith.
But what the fuck was that?
I want to say one thing about Brian Keith. Whoever his barber is,
he said the blonde
because his little tail.
You want to talk? I've seen your photos.
I don't give a shit. My
Slim Shady.
If I cut it, listen, it's fine. You know what? If I had a little rat's tail in the back of my head, it'd be even in the back of my head. It wouldn't be shifted to the right hand side.
Nah, it had frosted tips.
It wasn't frosted.
I'm not going to comment on people's hair, considering
it was full bleached. So. It was full bleached. It was full bleached blonde. There were no tips.
Not so Slim Shady over there talking about other people's hair.
I have no room. I have no room to comment on people's hair at all because, like I said, you guys can see I'm kind of thinning up top here, and like people want to.
You had that one. You had your Harry Potter phase. Like
that was literal. Okay. That was literally on Halloween, so suck my dick. Anyway.
Look, every day is not Halloween.
Yeah, every day. So the Okada situation and the Darby situation, and basically pretty much in the last month or so, if not more, we are getting these mid-carders just randomly getting title shots. And I put a tweet out yesterday, the day before, about how is it diminishing the world title? So, is the AEW world title being diminished by having Darby just basically give anyone and everyone
and
title
think
match,
about it though.
Even if they haven't
we went from one drastic medium to another. We went from not being able to see the world title at all for a fucking year. Not being able to see it. It was in a fucking suitcase. Couldn't see the belt at all. To the complete fucking opposite. We see the belt all the time. But now it's being defended against anybody and everybody and whoever the fuck. Because anyone could get a world title shot. Fuck. And it's like, again, we're sacrificing MJF again. Hangman is we sacrificed Hangman too. Let's not forget about that. He can't get the world title no more.
Sacrifice Kenny. Sacrifice Kenny. He beat Kenny. He beat Kenny in 40 minutes in Canada.
And it's like,
I know,
and then
now
three,
Kenny's a side piece for the
and
Jericho
it's just
feud.
AEW the
Yes,
past
that's right.
month has
that's
just
another
taken
piece of
such a
Fairway to
drastic
Hell
turn
with
into
the
the
whole,
wrong direction. They were doing good. I
But you
was
guys know
saying
what
up
they're
until
doing, right?
March and April that they were doing good. They had a chance to change perception. That if All In could sell more tickets than WrestleMania, night of WrestleMania this year, they're back into the conversation. I was saying all types of good shit for AEW. Tony must have heard what the fuck I said and just went, you know what? I'm gonna just go the other direction now, because obviously what he's saying is working, and that's no bueno. I don't know. And I'm not saying it to be mean. It's just like, what the fuck? Go ahead, Hub. I'm sorry.
You know what they're doing, right? You know what they're trying to do. You know what they're trying to do. They're trying to stack up Darby Allin's title defenses. So when they take the title off him later this month, they'll be like, well, it doesn't matter how long he had the title for. Look at all these great matches he had. He was such a great champion. That's what they're doing.
Yes.
And literally every metric is down.
Right.
You could blame
They
the
actually
playoffs
just
all
went
you
up.
want, but NXT is still keeping a semi-decent number around what they've been having.
Right.
So it's like AEW's not. And if you listen to NWA at 4:00 in the afternoon on Sunday, it's drawing 275 fans. Probably the actual number, but they had a K next to it. So they're not the only show that's running against these playoff games.
Yeah.
Everything with Darby, the metric is down. I don't like how they're booking Darby as a champion in this MJF feud because they're making it look like Darby will fight anyone except MJF.
Yes.
Unless something's on like MJF. And that's some like chicken shit heel thing. It's not, oh, he's giving MJF a taste of his own medicine. That's
And
not
just
what it is.
the stipulation for
It's
the
coming
title
off
match
as
too.
He'll fight this
Like
guy,
the
this
hair
guy,
versus
this guy.
title. Like it's
But
the
he won't
weakest
face that guy.
hair stipulation match ever.
So
MJF
they're
in
kind
the
of
history
booking
of
him like a
AEW has
bitch.
never did a promo about his fucking hair. At least none I remember.
I mean, people universally know that he has. I mean, some people at least who are like uberly interested,
Like you
but
could tell.
that like he's had it operated on. I think there's been some jokes that have been inferred, but the problem that I had with this whole setup was they had 3-4 weeks to build this. Like you had 1 week, you had like 1-2 weeks, you had him dealing with Kevin Knight for whatever fucking reason, and that led to nothing. And then so basically they all get this out of the way in 1 week where MJF's literally throwing the farm at him and basically saying, hey, what do you want? And it turns into out of nowhere without any build whatsoever. Hey, I want you to put your fucking hair on the line, which doesn't, like you said, okay, what's the hook here? Like most people think, at least reasonable people that I think AEW sickos are trying to talk themselves into Max might lose. I think that would be a catastrophic, stupid booking decision if you have Max lose again. I don't, to me, there is no universe where MJF should be losing a third time in a row and second straight to Darby. So in their mind, they're trying to present a way that makes you think or that Max is going to lose again, which no reasonable person could think that that's even possible. So it's just like, I don't know what stipulation could have been better than this. The reality is they didn't even handle the build correctly. Like Max lost, he's chasing Darby, but then he's mixed up with Kevin Knight for whatever reason. He's, He's not even trying to hijack these matches. He's not even trying to infiltrate any of these things. AEW is so fixated on trying to give Darby this epic title run, which is almost feeling like a lifetime achievement award because he should have won it last year, but he went and climbed the fucking mountain. So it's almost like they're trying to make up for lost time while simultaneously, hey, we should have done this last year, but so we're making up for lost time. And then we're also trying to reward a guy who's, been like one of our most loyal soldiers for the longest time. But it's just like, dude, and also you wanted to make headlines against WWE. How'd that work out for you? You're now down 10, 15% in the ratings or something crazy? Like it's something crazy. Like they're down and people are trying to, and Hub, you brought up the NBA playoffs, dude. NXT's up. I get NXT's on network television, but still, this is a product that you've been beating consistently for the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. Now you're losing to them. And what's the one thing that you changed since then? Darby Allin took the title.
And the defenders don't want to admit that it's Darby. They're doing the mental gymnastics to make every excuse,
twisting themselves like fucking pretzels. Like, dude,
we can't blame Darby because this and that. It's like, dude, come on.
Can't blame Darby because Cade Cunningham's playing on Wednesday.
Listen, I'm a Cavs fan, so I'm a Cavs fan, and I'm glad that they won a game. But that's not what we're here to talk about. You're not playing against the fucking Knicks. Or they might have been playing against the fucking Knicks, but you mean to tell me that every fucking AEW fan is a Knicks fan and isn't watching their own show? Seriously?
I'd argue most AEW fans don't watch the shit they say that they lose against. I remember Juneteenth a few years ago, they're like, oh, well, everyone was watching the Kendrick Lamar concert.
Yes, I remember.
The fuck they were. No fucking way they were watching the Kendrick Lamar concert. I've been to AEW shows. They weren't watching no Kendrick Lamar.
They are just afraid to admit that a creative decision by Tony just did not pan out. You took a chance. It didn't work. For whatever reason, you decided to switch the titles, whether it's to steal headlines or, to give Darby the golden watch or, the pat on the back for being, a good boy for Tony. It just is not working. You see it in the numbers. And you can't use the playoffs as an excuse because, like you said, NXT is up 100,000.
Yeah.
From within 2 weeks. So,
and NXT's rebuilding. That's the other thing. NXT is rebuilding.
NXT has no one right now.
They have literally
There's no
nobody.
names.
They debut like Mason Rook. Everybody wants that guy to be the biggest. What is he? He's big. He's bad. He'll body slam your dad. By the way, you better believe that guy is going to be involved in the John Cena Classic. You better believe that guy is going to be involved because
especially that Cena tweeted that about.
Yes, exactly. Like John Cena is a fan of that guy.
Yeah. My whole point is, at some point you have to look at the common denominator, and the common denominator is that you took the title off MJF and you put it on Darby Allin. And Darby has a lot of fans. Hub, not you, but you know what I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah, but he is not a world champion, and he has brought that world champion. The title makes the man, or the man makes the title. And Darby is making the title a mid-card title. He is basically doing what you should be doing with the TNT title, with a TV title, not with the world championship. So at some point, as we were talking about the ratings, you have to admit that it's Darby's fault. Just like you shit on Cody when SmackDown drops, you blame Cody for it. When Raw goes up, you give Roman props. We gave MJF the props for being, AEW's biggest draw right now when the ratings went up, a month and a half ago. At some point, you got to give Darby, and since he wants to be the world champion, it's his responsibility, and you have to blast him for the fact that he has pushed fans away.
Like, use it in like sports term, which is what I used when I was recording show this past week. The Lakers are getting their ass kicked by the Thunder right now. LeBron's playing out of his mind, but it's not LeBron's fault. They're losing and stuff. But guess what? It's going to be on LeBron because he is the anointed guy of the Lakers. Darby's the anointed guy of AEW right now. So yes, his matches may be good, but it's his fault. He's the annoyed guy. So it's going to be on him, and it should be on him. And we're heading down a slope here
No,
where I don't count CM Punk as champion because he never really had a defense, never really got it
I
going.
won't say he's worse than Hangman.
Darby Allin may be the worst
I
AEW
can't
champion ever.
because Hank.
Don't tell that to some of the sickos, man. There, some of the sickos are
I
saying
can't say
like
he's
he's
worse
the
than
best.
Hangman, and
I think he's been worse than
not
Page
worse
so
than
far.
Moxley, because Moxley's Death Rider's reign of
I
terror
think he's been
was
worse than Hangman.
the initial downfall of
Hangman's issue
AEW.
is he had
That
no
drove away
one.
a lot of people. In terms of
Was
Moxley killed way more interest than
It was
Darby is
bad, but
doing
it
right
at
now.
least
They
at
went
least
from
it
a
had its
solid
moments.
800. They were at
Where
800K
this
when
reign
Moxley
so
got the
far,
belt, and they ended
it
at
hasn't.
550, 400. That's what the numbers they were getting as Moxley is champion.
So I know how. So this is gonna sound very hypocritical after what I just said.
I
You
agree.
kind of have to put a caveat on that one because a
I
certain
agree
video
that did play a factor
was
into it to a
dropped
certain
during that.
extent. That did start the drop, but Moxley
certain
did
Or
keep
was
it
that the year
going.
before?
That pushed away, I would
No,
say,
I think
about
that's the year
50K
before.
to maybe 100K people. There was still a 250K drop from when
Right.
Moxley got the belt to when he dropped the belt.
Well, it looks like they're on that now because this past week they were under 600K.
Yeah.
For the
They
second
were
week in a row.
they were starting to climb back up to their old numbers.
They were at like weren't they like at 750 the week before the week before, like, you know, they made the title change?
But they faced a play-in on Amazon, so you can't blame Darby for it. Like,
and they got 700,000 because everybody wanted to see what was going to happen, because they heavily teased coming out of the pay-per-view that they were going to go this route, and then there was just all the murmurs throughout the week that this was probably going to happen. And then we all get to that day, everything happens, you know.
no, I feel like once Sean Ross Sapp said, I think they're giving Darby the title on Wednesday after Dynasty. That was code for he's winning the title on Wednesday. Yeah. Get ready for it. That's what these that's what these reporters do.
And then everybody sort of piggybacked off of it. Like, you had all of the, you know, main people who seemingly were piggybacking off of Sean and what he was saying, that, hey, yeah, this is probably happening, and we got to explain why. So
there's a risk that didn't need to be taken, and they're starting to feel it now. Yeah. I don't think their fans are going to, quote unquote, come back once you give MJF title, because once again, it feels like MJF's probably just going to hold it for a month and a half anyway.
Because what do you think? What do you think, he's losing it? Like you think he's losing it to Kenny?
I think Kenny's getting it. This is going to be a very ugly road here involving this title, because I feel like you're about to have 3 straight bridge title reigns.
You're going to have 3 title runs. Like, what? Seriously, you're going to have 3 title changes in the span of like 4
highway just to get the Will Ospreay. It's insane.
Yeah, and so, like, okay, Max is going to win the title back in his home state. You're going to have Kenny win it in Canada, and then you're going to have Will win it in England. Also,
Moxley,
while we're on the subject of Will, what in the, and Brandon, I think you had a good analogy, but I'm not up on, like, you know, Rocky 3, but at some point, like, there's got to be some level, like, on some level, I've got to wonder what's going on here and what all the payoff is going to be to, you know,
who's killing Moxley?
Yeah, because that's gonna, if Brandon's point's interesting, if that's the route that they want to go, but AEW's kind of constantly proven in some of these situations that's not what they want to do, because we've been waiting for Mox to get whacked basically since like December, And we've just been waiting and begging and just pleading for something to happen where they fix this whole Death Riders thing. So in addition to like the whole arc of Will Ospreay potentially winning we assume winning the title at Wembley in August, what the hell is this build for him? Like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, the whole main event scene just has kind of been just turned on its ear. Like, Max had this thing going, like, I'm not going to say a runaway train, but they were like, this was the main event scene was great. You know, you had multiple guys chasing him. You had Swerve, you had Andrade, you had Brody King to a degree, you had Hangman, you had Kenny, you had all these people chasing him. But now
Not
you
even
do
just
this,
that, Mike.
this
You got to
random
think
title
about it
change
too.
the week of
with
WrestleMania,
MJF,
and now
they had
it's
baby
been dumbed
faces
down and
lined up for
reduced
him.
to this mid card
Bunches of
championship.
baby
Like,
faces, elevating a
I
bunch of
don't think
mid
of
card
the
baby
AEW
faces
world.
to at least a main event level. To now, we put it on a mid card baby face with no top
Yeah,
heels
no,
for
dude,
this
this was
mid card baby face
this was
to
this
go
was
at to face for the world title. So all we have to do is throw him some mid card fodder, and not even all of them are heels. He's faced two baby faces.
right.
He's only
Exactly.
faced one heel.
And he faced
I mean,
Ciampa.
Yes.
would you not say this is very reminiscent of, you know, the last year on SmackDown of the US title? Open challenge type stuff?
Yes,
You
yes,
you
that's
were
a great.
basically, you
Yeah,
know,
no stories. You're just having a bunch of guys come out and basically proclaim that they're going to face the guy, and it's like, dude, the difference is that it's a mid card. That is a mid card championship carrying you from week to week on television. The world championship is supposed to be the top prize in your promotion, and what Max was doing with that for listen, he had the longest run. The run in 2023 was kind of a little bit of a mess. Some of it wasn't his fault because Adam Cole got hurt, and that kind of just derailed what their big picture plan was. He held the title for 3 months. This was as fresh and as exciting as the AEW main event scene has felt in years. Because to DJ's point, you're the man makes the title. MJF was elevating that thing, and it was making that thing feel like a fucking commodity to the point where you had guys who were getting elevated and were being put in position to, elevate themselves. Like Andrade felt fucking important. Andrade came right in, felt important. Swerve, like, I don't know what's going on with Swerve ever since he lost to Kenny. Now he's going after Bandito. But
do you know, I don't want to interrupt, but do you notice that all of MJF's challengers have all dropped into
dropped in the mid card
stories?
Yes.
Omega's part of you're going to be part of that stadium stampede against Ricochet and the Don Kyle's family.
Andrade saying how to people, just saying his catchphrase.
You got Swerve feuding with freaking Brody with Bandito now. All these guys who were, coming out to confront MJF are now dropped down. So that just shows what the damage has been done to the world title.
Yeah.
And as far as the Will Ospreay and the Moxley stuff,
and that's
just
the
so
Moxley
you understand
idea.
what I was comparing
anything
it to.
about
I compared
Moxley,
it to Rocky 3.
That was the whole thing he pitched for him in Punk. Let's do the Rocky 3 thing.
I almost said Apollo Crews. Apollo Creed.
Yep. We're doing the whole cinema thing in AEW, and
that's the only thing I could compare it to why he would, go to the Death Riders after the Death Riders
after they kayfabe broke his neck. They kayfabe broke his neck. He comes back like a house of fire, and then Moxley drops him on his head at the pay-per-view, and like all of a sudden Will Ospreay wants to train with him. I was like, what? And we can't even figure out what the hell the Death Riders are from week to week. Are they heels? Are they baby faces? Like, seriously. So the whole connection between all of this, because we all assume it's going to be Will Ospreay's going to win the Owen. They're going to announce the brackets on Wednesday. We assume that whoever the champion is, whether it's Max, I don't think it'll be Darby. It shouldn't. Like, Darby shouldn't win at the fucking pay-per-view. But it's just I don't understand what the whole direction is here. I don't get it.
No, as far as the fucking
I
Death
don't know where
Riders,
they're
I've
going.
been saying this for almost a year and a half,
I don't
almost
think
2
Tony
years.
knows,
Anything
and I think
Moxley is a
that's the
part of
problem.
is literal
That's the problem.
To be
death.
honest with
Exactly.
you.
He is a detriment to
They-
AEW. Anything he does is just bad. It's like he tries to do his own version of whatever works in WWE, and it just completely fails and flops on his fucking head. And
Cinema. He's trying to do
it
freaking
doesn't work.
cinema, which is
There's
what
no
Roman was
continuity.
successful
There's
at.
no
And
consistency.
now you're
One
trying to
week they're
bring that
baby
sort of
faces, 1
bloodline
week they're
cinema to
heels,
the
1
Death
week they're
Riders.
at each other's
And
neck,
it's
1
like-
week they're one big happy family.
Nobody
It's
cares.
been completely worse ever since they tried to murder Danielson, and that's honestly, ever since that point, it's made zero fucking sense. People have to play mental gymnastics to try to justify or explain this shit. This group should have broke up 6 months ago, and they're still going strong, and it's fucking bad. When he won the
When he cut that promo, when he cut that promo at I can't even remember what was it
When he won the Continental.
World's End, when he won the Continental Classic, everybody, I was just waiting for somebody to fucking kill. I was waiting for Claudio to freaking, I'm not saying bring out the plastic bag. I was waiting for Claudio or Pac or anybody to just freaking kill the guy. I was like, this is a complete departure.
It should have been Takeshita
From everything that John Moxley did for the last year. Basically, effectively cuts a pseudo babyface. First of all, he shouldn't have won the Continental Classic in the first place. That didn't make any sense. And then it should have been Takeshita. Yep, yeah. I agree. I don't know what my guy Takeshita. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with him. Don't know what the hell they're doing with him. Because now you're throwing it.
He's got to beat Okada. I mean, if he loses to Okada,
he has to win. He has to win. Well, because now you're throwing him into a world championship match against Darby that Darby's not losing, unless they do a fuck finish.
I feel like Okada's going to cost him the match.
Yeah,
See, my problem with AEW and specifically its fan base is they will forgive bad creative.
Yeah.
Because they put on, Dave Meltzer 5-star matches every week. So you will forgive.
Dude, fuck cage match, man. Dude,
but I'm just saying, they'll forgive bad creative decisions simply based on in-ring work. And I think that's a very bad detriment to AEW when you can't be critical of bad creative. Because no matter how good a match is, you still need to build those stories to the match. Right. Yeah, AEW tells stories more in the ring than, backstage promos and stuff like WWE does. But you still need that connective tissue match to match. And if you're not doing things right, it doesn't matter how good Dave and, cage match and the 18 people that vote on cage match that, everyone does backflips over. It's not working. And you can't forgive one company because they put on good matches for bad creative and then lambaste the other company simply because, they put
just
on
be consistent
a
like
DJ product than what you like.
Hate everything.
And I think that's a big problem that we see with, AEW fans.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's just like what Brandon said. You don't be critical and things may get better. Demand better. And the problem is what Tony has done is he fosters this culture of just, you've got to love everything that I have. And if it's not like what I have, you got to hate it. And it's just like this tribalistic culture really started with, the AEW sicko fan base to the point where it's like AEW has good things in place. It's like they're booking for one audience. They're booking for the fucking internet. It's why everybody focuses on what happened on Cage Match. Who cares about Cage Match? Who cares about Cage Match? you're going from week to week. I don't know what the hell is going to happen on this show because there's no cohesiveness. There's no structure. It's just fuck it. We're just going to do whatever. Guys, look at what they're doing with the women's division. Look at what they're doing with the women's division right now. Tekla is we're literally what? 2 weeks away from the pay-per-view. I think it's 2 weeks from Sunday. They're going into a pay-per-view where their women's champion doesn't even have a defined storyline. And now she is feuding, or she's going to have a fatal four-way against two women she has already defeated cleanly, one of which on pay-per-view in stat. And then you've got Hikaru Shida, who hadn't been on television up until like last month for like basically a year. And then you got Jamie Hayter, who I love to death, but hasn't been put in a situation. She's in a tag team too. So they don't even know what the fuck they're doing with their women's division. And they don't have anything.
And Hub even called it earlier elsewhere. He said that Sheeta's ice cold.
Yeah.
But we're just magically putting her in a title match.
We're basically window dressing until Mercedes gets back. We're just window dressing until, because Toni Storm's not there anymore. You've seen an already dead women's division completely dip in quality from the minute that she was removed from television. Mercedes hasn't been there since,
and she knows she's winning the Owen because
Mercedes. No. It's probably gonna be Mercedes and Tekla in Wembley. That's probably what's going to happen.
Mercedes needs to win the Owen and probably needs to win that title.
Yeah. That's the only thing that's going to save that division because Tony doesn't know anything out of that division outside of that woman being involved, which is pathetic because they've got so many
Storm
or Toni Storm
of the last, we'll go 2 years of feeding everyone to just two women.
Yeah.
Now she's not doing bad. She's actually one of the highlights of AEW, I would say.
With both those two women out, Thekla's doing okay. Willow, this TBS reign is the drizzling.
Tekla's very entertaining.
Tekla's doing good. Tekla's doing fine.
She's very entertaining. I kind of enjoy
your tag champs. No offense, your tag champs. Yeah, they're just.
Okay. I don't know. Megan Bain and Lena Cross look like stars, but they are not. They are not presented.
They're not presented.
They have literally fought nobody since winning those titles. Every match they're on TV, they're fighting scrubs.
I think they were at Fairway to Hell, and I don't even know who the fuck they faced.
You realize there's only one tag team left from the inaugural Women's Tag Team Championship tournament that's still together.
Dude, here's what's crazy.
No, hold on.
Harley Cameron
That's
and
actually another bright
Willow
spot.
were tag team champions together. They broke them up. And then they threw Harley into a tag team with Mina.
Okay, I get fucking big double D's in my face for fucking 5 minutes. I'm good.
Listen.
Whoever is offended by that, fuck you.
You can.
I'm sorry. Okay, I feel like Ed and Eddie looking at jawbreakers.
Were kind of offended by that. For all the people who want to,
which is ridiculous.
Which is fine.
First off, you like the Simpsons meme where.
And Harley brought up a good point. Harley brought up a good point when she saw people saying that. It's like, you literally got offended by that, but she wears less clothing in her ring gear when she wrestles. And basically wears the same top. But yet people were complaining
Simpsons
about it.
Meme where Smithers' assistant's in the corner and you just got two strippers like around him. He's like shielding his eyes and shit.
Yeah.
That's what some of the AEW fans were acting like during that. But like, back to the whole women's division. Okay, your tag champs are presented as champion. Willow as TBS champion is surprisingly underwhelming.
Well, because here's what they're doing. What they're doing is they're just dusting off the whole fucking bench. Everybody who's been parked, the only person that hasn't been unparked is Britt Baker because I don't think she's coming back.
No, Tony Khan's hoping she'll come back one day.
Yeah, we've been saying that we've been saying that for 18 months now. We've been saying
the owner of the company who's in charge of creative and everything he's hoping one day they decide to bring her back.
Yeah.
That's the joke. Every time that's the joke, Mike. Every single time he's asked about Britt Baker, he hopes she comes back. Meanwhile, it's his call.
Yeah,
it's his call.
No, believe me, I've heard the media calls every time that she is asked, and there's a report about. Yeah, I want to bring her back. It's like, dude. You've been back to Pittsburgh. It would have been a perfect opportunity to bring her back. You didn't bring her back. You brought back Camille before you brought back Britt Baker. Think about that.
And she's off TV again.
And Camille, yeah, and they only brought Camille on to plug, American Gladiators. That's the only reason
they
brought
even
it.
plug it. Wait, did they even plug it? Did they even say anything about it?
I think it was very.
Vaguely.
I think it was very subtle. It was very subtle. But that's the only reason why they brought her back. And it was the most random thing, nonchalantly, right before the pay-per-view. It's like, dude, what are we doing?
You think they would have brought like her back, maybe make Wardlow make an appearance and stuff. Like they did none of that. Granted,
Wardlow, I think, is still hurt.
Don't you mean the more
even
famous MJF?
Yeah, it started.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the host is The Miz. So hey, there you go. A bunch of
okay. That's how you could tell how hype this show revival is.
Yeah, the more not the less famous Miz. I see what you did. That's well done.
But like, you get what you deserve. This is what happens when you feed the entire division to only two people, and the one person you actually made look good when feuding with one of the two end up leaving you for WWE. So you get what you deserve here.
Yep. And then the sad thing is, AEW sickos can't fathom when somebody leaves their place amicably and they have to, oh God, Mariah May, she made the wrong decision going to WWE because she's losing all the time. I was like, first of all, it was her choice to go there. She wanted to go there, and she made the decision to go there. Now she's on SmackDown. She'll be on there eventually, but it's just like, to your point, Hub, it's like, yeah, they put all their eggs in the basket to do that whole arc with, Tony and Mariah, which was probably the best women's storyline they've ever done. And then Mariah had a terrible title run. She ran out her time as champion. And then the Hollywood Yeah, that's a good point. The Hollywood ending, Britt actually had, I think Britt and Thunder Rosa, I don't know how much of a story that was, but some of the early women's division stuff they did was actually okay. It wasn't great, but this division's fucking dead, man. Like, because I was wondering who Tekla was going to face for the women's championship at Double or Nothing, and then I saw the graphic that they flashed during Fair in Hell. I thought it was AI. I thought it was a joke. I was like, she's literally beaten two of these people already.
No.
And Sheeta has been literally saddled in a tag team with Stat, who I love. So it's just like, are you even trying?
No, it makes even more. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's not like they've been racking up singles wins and shit. They're racking up tag team wins. So you'd think, okay, they're racking up all these wins for the tag division. You'd think they'd be next for the tag titles? Especially, especially Hayter and Windsor. Like, they're undefeated as a tag team. They haven't fought for those tag titles once. Maybe you give Sheeta and Stat another chance at the tag champs, but like, they just rattle off tag team wins, and it's like, here you go, you get a world title shot now.
And why is her partner not in the match instead?
If I had to guess, I'm guessing it's because they're probably using her for the Owen, or B, because she doesn't want to risk injury that close to her wedding, which is like a week later. I don't know. Those are the only two things I could honestly think of.
I would honestly have made it a 5-way since you want to throw both those tag teams in there.
Yeah, but then there's your whole fucking division.
But then also Tekla already beat Windsor. Tekla already beat Windsor on
right. So but she's beaten everyone.
Yeah, she's beaten everyone.
So, I mean, in that match,
maybe you could bring Anna Jay back for her second farewell match.
That was another one that, like similar with
if you
Camille,
realize the amount of people they have sitting right now, that probably would have made more sense. Granted, they haven't been on TV, but probably would have made more sense than Stat, Hayter, and Sheeta. You got Baker, who you could have just had her come in, put over Tekla, and leave. You have Ty Mello, same thing. You have Ruby Soho, who has been around in like 2 years.
Did she have a kid? She got pregnant. She
They
had a
have
kid,
like a
and,
restaurant
like, she
now
just
they own.
disappeared. Just
Yeah, I don't
disappeared.
blame
Well,
her.
they opened their own business and stuff, but
Yeah, her and Cool Hand Ange, right?
yeah.
Well, like, that's 3 people right away, and if you yeah, that's 3 people right off the bat you coulda just brought, even if it's just a one-time thing, just to put over Tekla, just to get her to Forbidden Door where she's probably gonna take on, Persephone or some shit. Like, it's usually their go-to. Now, it's just, "Hey, we need, someone not in a company to wrestle someone important. Let's get Persephone from CMLL." So, they had a lot of options here. They could have done anyone else, and it probably would have made more sense in this fatal four-way. Between the women's division, the god-awful trios division, and then the world title scene right now, it's just a big clusterfuck.
I mean, they're gonna keep
then-
the tag team. The tag team division was bad for a while. Now the tag team division actually might be the only thing that's actually. I mean, we'll see what the hell they do. Like, because now they're gonna probably get. They're gonna. They're. I mean, well, it's mostly because
it's a lot of hope.
It's a lot of hope, and at least there is something there. Like, you'll probably get Cope and Christian winning at the pay-per-view, and then New Day's probably going to come in. You got a bunch of bodies there, but it's at least there's something at least there. It's not much, but at least, like, everything else around this is fucking dead, man. Everything else is around this is freaking dead. Like,
And then tonight, your TNT champion made the announcement that he wants to go after the tag titles now.
yeah, well, Kevin Knight just has this whole bit like that. He's just that everybody wants to hold multiple titles because there's like 17 titles in AEW, like. And then Mark Davis wins the national title. It'd be great if I gave a shit about the national title. I don't.
And I think they only did that to get to the Stadium Stampede match because it was.
I
Ricochet
just love
who
how the
caused
Hurt Syndicate was
Jack
smart
Perry
enough to say,
the
"Fuck
title
that
to
match.
get him
We ain't
into
doing
that match
shit.
against the
That
Demand." So
us
it's like,
doing that match will demean us.
it's
So
just
put the
all over
elite
the
in
place.
there.
There's no cohesiveness, like we said.
No, they're
So
not. No, it's the elite. It's the elite.
I thought they are in it though.
That's
I
what
thought
I
I read
said
they
when
are
I
in it.
saw that the elite
Oh no, they're not.
announced
They're
it
not
tonight.
anymore.
I was like, "What
It's
the
the
fuck
elite
is the
now.
point of the Hurt
He's right.
Syndicate not
So
being
what the hell
in
was
it?"
the
Then
point?
I
So
realized
what the hell was the
what
point of
match it
running
was
that angle?
being announced, and I'm like, "Oh, the Hurt Syndicate
Bobby
don't want to
Lashley
get
probably
any
said
of
no.
that shit stink all over their name at all."
So literally, so
I mean, MJ,
let me get this
MVP
straight.
was definitely like, not my boys.
What was the point of Dynamite? Literally, 2 angles that they ran for the future are scrapped already. Like, they scrapped the Okada match and that whole angle, and then they scrapped the Hurt Syndicate being involved in Stadium Stampede. What the hell was the point of what the hell was the point of weekly television if stuff that you're shooting and stuff that you're putting out there isn't on television?
Yeah,
Seriously.
tell me why the Bucks and Omega are going to be in this when the Bucks and Omega really have had. Omega's been on TV since Dynasty, and the Bucks, for the most part, have had nothing to do with the Don Callis family. They've been in the FTR Cope and Christian circle.
On the outside looking in,
Yeah,
there
they
haven't
didn't.
even really been that
You know
much
what
a part
type of
it.
stupid shit they do in
Like, Hurt
Stadium
Syndicate would have made
Stampede,
more
and how
sense,
many
but
times people
like
come out
DJ
of that
said, I
match
guarantee you
hurt,
MVP
and
was
it's
like,
just
nope,
a
not my guys.
bullshit garbage match for 10 jackoffs to go out and do any fucking thing they wanted to do that they seen on fucking SmackDown. Here comes the pain, and that's the whole purpose of the fucking match. It wasn't.
Till someone comes running out in a horse again, it's
He
not going to
fucking,
top
that was the
probably
one
the
where
first
he
one.
hit
But
Santana
I'd
with the
argue the
fucking
first one
Liberty
wasn't even
Bell,
that
and he
good.
went into convulsions.
Really distasteful. Yeah, like
And he
you had
locked
Matt Hardy
the other
drowning
one
folks
into
like
the
3 days
fucking
after
ice
Shad
box.
drowned. Very fucking wild.
Just a bunch of shit.
Yeah. Sammy Guevara got hit with a golf cart.
Second one was in Daly's
Yet
place,
another
I
one.
thought.
What the fuck was it? And then the second one was a watered down version of the first one. It was the Pinnacle versus
Yeah, that was like the transition from the stadium into Daly's place.
Stadium
yeah,
Stampede
it's
and
the Pinnacle
Anarchy.
versus
You got
the
to
Inner
remember, there's
Circle,
a difference
where
between
the loser
Anarchy
had
in
to
the
disband
arena
and
and
find
It feels
Stadium
like
someone.
it feels
Stampede.
like legitimately Jericho's been in like half of these.
I think he's
So-
been in all of them but one.
Yeah, because that's the only reason. Because they always do this at Double or Nothing, and the only reason why they're labeling this one Stadium Stampede this year is because they're in a tennis stadium. That's the only reason why. That's the only reason why they changed this. And this is going to be the most like last year was actually good. It was kind of thrown together, and at least you had some big stars in that one. This feels totally thrown together out of desperation over just saying, "Hey, we've got to
About the
do the
past month,
match
yeah.
for the sake of doing the match," because Jericho and Ricochet have been feuding basically for the last 6 weeks, and and it's just like none of it's leading anywhere. I don't know what it's accomplishing. It's mainly just keeping Ricochet. I mean, keeping him relevant on television. I don't know why he's on television given some of his behavior. I've made
Punishment for that tweet.
I've made my personal opinions very public about how much I think Trevor should have been suspended and should have been publicly reprimanded for his behavior. Yet, hey, we're giving him a win over Chris Jericho. Cool.
Oh no, we had a stern. Someone had a stern talk to him. Apparently, no one wants to take ownership of that.
Yeah, no,
It
yeah,
went
everybody's
from-
like, yeah,
it went
no,
from a friend to Chris
Chris
Hero
Hero.
to Tony Khan to not Tony Khan to back
he's
to Tony
back on
Khan.
he's back on television in a week.
Yeah.
Like, what the
well,
fuck?
You know what the,
I
Jericho,
wanna-
you know what the
just-
Jericho Ricochet feud accomplished? It showed in just 6 weeks that time does not heal all wounds. Jericho's not needed on AEW television. There's no place for him.
Yeah.
AEW has grown past
I was
the
going to say,
need
I don't think it's Jericho's
of
fault.
Chris Jericho, and there's no offense, not really a coincidence that quality of television has gone down since his return.
But I don't think
that
he
has anything to do with
specifically
Jericho, to
is
be
playing
fair.
a contribution
not
to
on
this, because
him.
I would honestly say
It's
the
not on
stuff he's
him,
doing
but it
right
is
now is some of the
kind
best
of when
Chris
the
Jericho
turning
shit
point
we've
began.
gotten in years. This isn't Learning Tree bad. This isn't, any other of the bad shit that he's been known to do the past few years. They've been using him a little more sporadically. Him and Ricochet, their match that they had wasn't a bad one either. So, for once, we cannot blame Jericho or say Jericho's doing anything wrong, because I think Jericho's actually being used to the best of his ability right now. And that's saying much.
Hey, we're gonna get
fuck
ready to
you.
wrap this up. I do want to just, give my own personal regards to Trick Williams for his
And Ted
loss.
Turner, on a serious note.
And I would like to dedicate this episode to the Gingerbread Man.
Oh my god!
And I
On a serious
When
note,
they-
yes.
When they flashed I'm going to do a memoriam thing, and it's Trick, Little Yachty, and a gingerbread man at a fucking strip club.
I don't give a shit. I
Fucking
thought that was
awesome.
I thought
Dude.
last night was very entertaining. I thought putting him in all the greatest, WWE moments, using him as a streamer just to like fuck with the streamers. I'm sorry. I thought, it was cringe, but it was creative. To me, it was almost like Spaceballs. It was so stupid. It was just funny.
DJ's going to reserve his thoughts
And,
for the
everyone
next
losing their
episode.
mind over it. I just find
'Cause
it to
fuck
be
this
even
shit.
more. That makes it even more entertaining.
Right. Like it's so bad that you almost can't help but laugh. It's weird. It's hard to really describe. It's like sometimes hey, you're going through a long week and you've been through a lot, and you go home and you see this nonsense on your television and you're like, man, that's kind of stupid shit. but it's almost like it's almost so bad that you can't. Like it's so weird. Like I said, was it a little bit corny as shit? Sure, but at the same time, like on some level, it's just like you couldn't help but laugh, even if it really was kind of just terrible.
Especially how everyone was playing it. Everyone was playing it so straight, especially like Joe Tess. He was like trying to play it so straight. Everyone in the back was playing it straight. R-Truth was like, did his thing with Sammy. Sammy's like the only one who's losing his mind. Like, he's like was placed in the Matrix, and he's like, he just knows it's the Matrix, and no one's listening to him. I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
No, it's that I don't.
It got me.
Again, I said the Dan
it was
Housen
honestly
shit
the
was
most
good.
entertaining
Comedy shit is great
SmackDown
when
in a
you're
very
doing
long
it with
time.
comedy people.
DJ
Don't do comedy
doesn't
shit
like
with
fun
people we're
anymore.
supposed to be taking
Ropes has
seriously,
got
and
to
then
him
get
too
mad at
much.
us when you want us to take them seriously later, and you're putting them in comedy bullshit. That's all. Again, and also, again, every explanation I've heard justifying this shit has always come with the caveat, well, SmackDown's been so bad, at least we feel something out of this.
But what about...
So at least we can all honestly at least justify and recognize that this shit was awful. And this shit was bad.
But,
Death of a legend. They
how was the death
definitely
of a
gave the fucking
legend
gingerbread
funny?
man a better tribute than
comedy?
Ted Turner.
That was a very they treated that shit like Hulk Hogan dropped dead. Like that shit was built around him.
Although at the same time,
no
although
offense
the same
to defend WWE here, Ted Turner did not deserve a legit tribute.
They did the absolute best that they possibly could given the circumstances of paying like that. Like I said, I get why some people are going to try and make that compare. Like, listen, Ted Turner tried to put WWE out of business. He tried to put WWE out of business. Given all of what happened in the history that man had in professional wrestling, I think WWE did just about the best they possibly could with the long graphic at the start. Like, they weren't going to give him a 10-bell salute. They weren't going to do any of that. And listen,
Gingerbread Man should have got it.
Oh, and let's be real. If Vince was in charge still, he wouldn't have gotten anything.
Well,
he would have got the Umaga treatment.
Do you guys remember how crazy it was when AEW literally waited through half the week to acknowledge that Hulk Hogan passed away? And remember how it literally was like a random graphic or a random statement from Tony Schiavone during Collision. Like, we literally waited almost like what it felt like a couple of days from
Dynamite, him and
before
Linda, so
they even acknowledged Hulk Hogan. They didn't acknowledge him on social media. They didn't acknowledge him anywhere. And I was wondering if they were actually going to say anything. Like that too. Yeah, I know.
I doubt either of them even knew what the fuck AEW was.
Yeah. But I want to thank Main Event Hub. I want to thank Mike. DJ as always. This was episode 22. Catch up on all our socials.
22 episodes too long.
What was that?
Said 22 too long.
Yeah. But, follow all our socials. They're linked to our profiles, and we'll see you next week.